This is Alan Limer, and I'm going to be setting up and just giving tips on how to set up and maintain a drum kit. Also things like tuning and all that good stuff. So, yeah, the most important thing to start with is getting your throne height sorted. This is going to have to be set up to performance standards, so I'm going to set it up so how I would play it. So for me, I'm quite tall. I've got quite a lanky body, so I'm going to raise this till I feel till it's a comfortable distance off the floor. Alright, so that feels about good. Then you get your bass drum in place. Now this, for most people, goes right in front of you, unless you play double bass, in which case people have it off to an angle to incorporate the other bass. But for me, it's a single bass drum with a double kick pedal. So speaking of which, the next thing to set up is your bass pedal. So you start with mounting it to your drum, which down here matches onto the bass loop. If it'll go on. Right, there, that's in. So that's in a pretty good position for my right foot. Now to get my left foot set up. Now I play with quite a wide stance. So as you can see, my legs are quite far apart. And as probably noticeable on this pedal, my foot doesn't reach the pedal quite enough. So I'm going to adjust said pedal so it's comfortable for the performer. Now that for me is comfortable because it's got the right leg stance, I can get my legs in perfectly. And yeah, so next thing you want to make sure you got your bass drum and your hi-hat pedals sorted, but you got to bring your snare drum in. So what I tend to do is I bring in the snare, so you get that situated. So if you've got a double kick pedal, the rear leg goes under the bar that drives the second drive pedal. And then again you want to set this up to your height. So again, I'm quite tall, I have long limbs, so I'm going to put that there. Then bring in the drum. Now with these drums you've got to make sure they're tuned properly. Now that's a bit high for me, so I'm going to take that down a smidge. Now for me that's a good height, that's where my arm falls. But I play with my arms quite close to my body, so that's middle of the stick's going to hit about here. So next thing to do is tune the drum. Best thing to do is take everything to finger tight. Then on the snare head, as in the head with the wires, you want to take that to one full turn. Then do the same on the second and then the other head. But with the second head, you're going to take the top 3 lugs 1/2 turn more. That gives it I suppose if you listen to the Iron Maiden Brave New World album, isolate the snare drum and that's how it will sound. That's how I like my snare to sound, because I think that's just a beautiful sounding snare. Even though this snare I don't think is made of sycamore, but you know. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just loosening the lugs so I can get them to the right tuning, and all the toms that I'll bring in have been tuned beforehand. You could say it's what I prepared earlier. I should have done that after I put cymbals in. Anyway, never mind. Another thing you should watch when you're setting up your snare, so it doesn't hit the bass drum. So it's not with mounting it. Depending on how you mount your drums, depending on where you position them, etc. That's all dependent on what you put in, what you have, how you play, how much aggression or the style you play, as it were. Now I play more punk, rock, metal. So I like a rich tone, as it were. So, once I got this sorted, I will tune up this snare to the BNW tuning, I'll call it that. Now these are all finger tight, maybe not all of them, but, well, these I can all tighten up with my fingers. Once I get them as tight as I can with my fingers, then I'll take them one half, like a full turn more. So, that's those two. So then, one full turn. So yeah, this is supposed to be the best snare tuning I found. This is the best snare tune I found. I was looking at tuning ideas on the internet, and this is the best one I found. So, also, the bonus is it sounds like the Maiden one. So, let's crack on with that. I didn't. Right, this has not been done very well by me, but this is only a quick one, so. Oh, bollocks. Filter, you did not hear that. Right, so we're going to, right, so now we flip the drum over. Then you do the same with the top heads. I should have done this before I started recording. I'm going to put that on my stand. I'll start here. So yeah, there's many different ways to tune a drum. There's as many ways to tune a drum as there are people in the world, most likely. But this is the one I found that works for me. It sounds good and it's got a nice rich tone. And as a bonus, it sounds like my biggest drum influence that I ever listened to. So just gonna make sure all these are loosened. So, like I said, take it finger tight and take the top 4 lugs, or take the 3 lugs closest to your crash on this side, another half turn over. So, and then all the others just take them 1 turn over. Dropping this bloody key. You could say it's getting annoying. Now that one I couldn't do with my fingers because it was I had no grip. So as you can probably hear, the skin's quite wrinkly. That happens when you tune it because it's used to the tension. But when you're fully tuned up, that will all disappear. So that's all sounding the same. That's all everything this way. Alright, so these last two lugs will be done the same, so it's just the one tone. Now I'm going to take these just a tiny bit tighter because there's still a bit of a wrinkle with the plastic. Don't know what tuning this was on before, but it must have been very bloody tight. And that one wasn't tight enough. So that's all tuned up, that's in place. So the next thing to bring in is the hi-hat stand. All cymbals will be placed on in due time. So this is where these three items here, you should be able to have these set up and be able to play with these alone. That's the mindset you need to have. So I'm just going to go get some cymbals for this, and we'll get this set up and then we'll adjust where needs be. The hi-hat cymbals are Paiste PST3, 14 inches, and if there are ways to maintain cymbals, and I'll show you what happens if you don't. So, also on this kit there are two dampening rings on the rack tom and small floor tom. That's purely because this is a studio kit and they need studio rings. So when I've got this tightened up and picked up, I'll be able to bring some cymbal stands in. That's trying to annoy me. There you go. Be able to bring the cymbal stands in, and we'll be able to get some things sorted with the what they call it. So the actual kit setup. Right. So as I said before, all the toms are tuned. So like I said, I'm gonna have to adjust this to my height because I'm a lanky swine. I'm a lanky fool. So. Right, so see, I could play that kit live if I had to, or whatever. So I'm just going to bring in the rack tom. Well, it's an extra snare stand because we don't have any mounts. This is going to have to be raised up considerably. Christ, no one saw that. Oh, I took that the wrong way. So we've got a 12-inch rack tom here made by Tamer, same as the bass drum, and small floor tom. The large floor tom and snare drum are made by Yamaha, I believe. So that's that rack drum in place. And we're just going to bring in our cymbals, our crash sim. So I'm going to play an 18-inch on this side, a 16 on that side, 20 ride, and a cowbell. Now you're wondering why probably wondering why I take them off. That's for travel purposes, and it's easier to take them off because they're less likely to fall and break in transit. So I'm just going to bring in my 18 crash. You'll notice the second hi-hat behind me. I prefer the tone of the other one, so this one got moved. So I'll explain, when I finish the setup, how to maintain your cymbals when while you're playing, because there are methods to do that. There's ways to stop them cracking. And actually, if you notice the cymbal felts, these are important to on a drum kit, because when they rock, the felts are stopping them hitting the metal bit inside the stand. I think I've got a spare cymbal stand here. I'll show you. Look. Oh Christ, that does not go well. Then if you can take this off. But yeah, if you see this screw bit, it basically stops them knocking up against that. So A, say protects the stand, B, protects the cymbal. And you also play a crash a certain way because it stops them cracking and chipping and overall ruining the tone. Because if now this cymbal's been cracked and damaged, it's ruined the tone completely. These sound amazing when they're new, and then you crack them and then they just sound like crap. So we're bringing in our ride cymbal now. Again, this is going to have to be probably adjusted for height. The crash will be moved and adjusted, I assure. But yeah, the 16 crash and 20 ride are made by Istanbul. That's the name of the brand. They're probably made in Istanbul, because where Zildjian's made as well. But yeah, they're made in Turkey. So with a ride cymbal, you really should have no wash, but it depends on how you like the tone of your kit. Whether as to how much. See that, it's really you shouldn't have, but because it's me, I like a bit of crashiness in it. Because I play bands like My Chemical Romance and Green Day and that, I tend to use this as I tend to use my